after the game. And I really thought that he's usually the kind of guy that would look at, and he usually is. He's a player's manager, but he's legit. He'll usually look at the media and say, hey, he didn't have it. We're going to work with it. It's not the end of the world. But he just changed his story, and that really ticked me off. And now you're going to trot him back out here in the major league rotation. And I'm sorry, I see, in the chat room, I see Bruce using the term yes man. I don't want to just go that far, but that scenario right there, that's very much what that felt like to me over the weekend. And again, if you think I'm just jumping on Terry Francona for no reason, then I apologize, but I don't think that I am. I think I'm making a very logical argument if you go look at his own words over the weekend. There's some other people that have soiled on Francona because of decisions during the games. I'm not that guy most of the time. There's 162 games. Nobody gets all the decisions right. Sometimes there's stuff that, just think about it. Last year, everything he touched turned to gold. So you can't expect that. So I'm not one of these guys that every time a Francona decision goes wrong, I go, man, Terry Francona doesn't know what he's doing. He's got, no. It's the same guy as last year. I mean, but some chinks in the armor are being shown, as I saw. But there you go. That was how they justified trotting Justin Masterson back out there. That's the stuff that I have a problem with. Because, as you see, at its core, the core of this team, and guys, I know you're not going to want to hear this right now because we're talking about this year. The core of this team is here for the significant next few years. So the window, as you say, the window of opportunity is far from closing. As a matter of fact, to me, it's on the opening end. The Indians still have a lot of work to do to add some pieces to that core of the roster. So I'm not trying to give you the give up on this year and next year's bright. The next few years are bright as far as the pieces they've got and the young pieces that are coming up through the farm system, as we've seen, whether it's Lindor, Naquin, all these guys. You can go through all of them. And so I agree with that. But at the same time, this season is what a lot of people are worried about. This season, not next year, not in the future, this year. And so I get you there. And I think the Indians, for all the reasons that we talked about, simply scheduling and the fact that they've got more home games, they've got a weaker schedule, they've got a softer September, those things are artificially going to keep the Indians in this race all season long. It's one of the reasons that baseball put the schedule together the way it did, was to keep multiple teams in these races all season long. So just because of that, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. The Indians do have the opportunity to compete, even if it's artificial. You know what I mean? Even if it's not legitimately just based on the record of what you've done on the field. This week is going to be big. What, if anything, do the Indians do? Because I still believe Masterson, and I said he's got to chip in for this team to do it. I don't think he's going to do it. I'm completely discouraged by what we saw. That last AAA, I'm sorry, more than anything else, when the team tells you to go out and pitch like it's a playoff game and you can't get minor league players out and you're walking a small village, and we're not talking about Danny Salazar going down. We're not talking about Danny Salazar going down as a young guy. That's different. He was frustrated, and he got out of that and worked his way back up. But his first couple of starts, he got bombed. But we're talking about a veteran guy who's been there and done that. This should be business as usual. You should be going down there, cleaning stuff up, coming back up here. But it's been one thing after another. And I'll tell you, the story of this season for Justin Masterson is going to be how much he's kicking himself years from now for not just taking that offer from the Indians that they put on the table during spring training. Because right now, that would be the most life-saving contract he ever signed. Instead, he has literally sat here all season. And don't underestimate how much this next sentence plays a part in Justin Masterson's mental troubles, too. He's watched dollar bills just blow out the window all season long. And I'm not talking about thousands. I'm talking millions of them just blowing away. Couldn't catch them. It's like his season, he's been in one of those boxes that they've got at Chuck E. Cheese where they get the blower going and all the tickets and the money and the prizes are going around and you've got to snatch up as much as you can. He missed it all. He missed it all. He's got $14 in his hand looking around and going, damn, $45 million, just like that. But and nobody feels bad for him because his compensation contract will be like a 1-year, $10 million deal or something. So it's not like he's going to be, cooking ramen noodles or anything next year. But I think that played a part in it too. So if you can't count on Masterson, say what you want about the trade deadline. I don't want to see the Indians hit into the core for what I just said. The next few years are going to be good. They really do. This is not the usual team talk. We've got a bright future. The core of this team is tight. I mean, the Indians have the potential to put together a competitive team for the next several seasons. You got to get a guy. You got to get a pitcher in here. You've got to get some veteran pitcher in here to stabilize it. Give you a couple of stability points in this rotation with what we saw out of Salazar, which is the other thing I want to touch on before we go to the break about yesterday's game. Look at that. 2 in a row here. Impressive. Salazar, we saw the shakiness in the first one, but then he got out of it. And yeah, he had to go a little bit short because of that 3-walk inning, but he straightened himself out. But look, I go to what Mickey Callaway said too. Looking at him in his last 2 starts, Mickey Callaway said, man, I saw something in Danny that I have not seen since last year when we brought him up, when he helped be that spark, that we keep using the word spark. That's very, very encouraging. I mean, but again, I think inconsistency is still going to be the word. You're still going to have up and down, but there's a piece. If you can get anything out of Salazar here down the stretch, that's a bonus. We've got Bauer, who's really steadied himself and got himself in, really, I think, in a better position than a lot of people expected out of him this year. I told you, I kind of looked at him as a next year guy. To be totally honest, Bauer was a next year guy to me. Tomlin was a this year guy. Don't even get me on how wrong I was about that. I was right at first. He started out 5-1. I don't know what happened to the young Texan, as my man Big Bob will call him. I don't know what happened to Josh Tomlin, but we've seen him. We've seen the up and down iffiness with McAllister here. I mean, you got Kluber and you've got Bauer, and maybe if Salazar can help. So I'm just thinking you got to get one more guy that if nothing else, I can throw this guy out here, and he's not going to fireball on me. He's not going to throw gas on it. He's going to give me a solid 6 innings or so. He's going to, whatever you need your expectations out of that veteran pitcher. And, I can say offensively, here's the thing. The Indians don't need a bat if everybody would hit like they're capable of, as we're seeing here. But I don't think you're going to get that. And I don't think you can depend on that. I mean, even when the most consistent guy on the roster goes through a stretch where it's not happening for him, Michael Brantley. I mean, and at that point, things look really bad because nobody's helping. But, that's as much as getting a trade for a bat. Getting 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of this lineup hitting at the same time. I just don't know. And this is where I'm talking about trade. I don't think the Indians need a trade. I think they've got the talent. But I do think they need a trade because I just think there's not enough time left to sit here and cross your fingers and hope that all these guys start hitting. But I can tell you that lineup changes when Carlos Santana is the power source and not just the getting on base. But when he's that power source in the middle of the lineup, man, that makes a huge difference. I don't know how realistic is it to expect Santana to do anything like what he's been doing here. I mean, it'd be great, but I don't want to sit here and go, yeah, we're good because Santana's going to hit 6 home runs a week for the rest of the season. But, it's good to see him locking in on that ball, getting that vision. I mean, the weather's warming up, balls are flying out of the park, so that could be a jolt. So I think if you said make one trade, if you said Indians can only make one trade, I'd go for the arm over the offense because I believe that the Indians have a pretty good bullpen. We've talked about it for most parts of the year, one of the best in baseball. If you can solidify that starting rotation, I think you can get enough out of your offense to get it through. I really do. I still say the Indians are better than their record, but they're still not good enough to finish it off unless they pull it together, if that makes sense. Like, they're right there. I mean, I do. I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe they're a better than 500 team. You're talking to a guy that had them winning 90 to 93 games. I still believe the talent's there, but I think you got to get an arm. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here in the next couple of days with the break. We see the crazy prices and the crazy, what people are asking for this stuff. So I don't know what I want them to do because I'm not cutting into that core that I was looking at, you guys. I'm not going to do that, man. But I don't know. Well, you know what? Music's playing me up to it. Let me get to the break. Let me come back. We'll get Dan Wismar in on this conversation from the Cleveland Fan, and we'll talk some Browns, too. Haven't even touched it. Hour 2, we'll get into Browns training camp as well. We'll talk Hoyer and Manziel and all of that. I know Big Ten Media Days going on right now. I haven't been able to keep up with it. Maybe Dan has, but let's go to the break. Get you some news. Get Dan Wismar here. We'll pick back up on the Indians conversation, trade deadline week, and actually Wednesday will be another good conversation for Dan and I because that'll be right on the cusp of it. But we'll talk about this. We'll talk Browns. Let's keep the conversation going when we come back. News, Dan Wismar, Hour 2 of the Sports Fix. Coming up next. Don't go anywhere, baby.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into
The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Before we go to the break, guys, I want to talk to you just a second about our friends at GV Art and Design. Baseball's here once again. Cleveland, of course, excited, and GV Artwork teaming up with the Indians, and they're both going to knock it out of the park this season. And listen to some of the new designs they've got for Cleveland baseball fans everywhere. They've dug out an old classic, and they're bringing the heat with the new Wild Thing, Give 'em the Heater Ricky design. GV Artwork is teaming up with Cleveland fan favorite Michael Brantley and created a custom Dr. Smooth t-shirt. Plus, don't forget, they've got the Cleveland That I Glove collection, new tribal and Cleveland That I Love designs for women, and so much more. You can get GV Artwork designs on the website, gvartwork.com. And don't forget to use the sales code FIX10. That's FIX10, and you'll save 10% on your purchase. Or you can check out their new store in Lakewood on Detroit Avenue. Check them out in the Indians team shops and so much more. Cleveland That we all love, GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
It's an addiction. The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
No football? No problem at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. From their awesome Wing Mondays to every single Cavaliers and Buckeye Hoops games in full HD, the excitement never stops. Every day of the week brings a different set of food and amazing drink specials. Fight fans, Harry Buffalo North Olmsted is the home for every UFC pay-per-view live on the big screens. And let's not forget their mouth-watering trademark, the Bison Burger. Nobody does bison like Harry Buffalo. The perfect combination of healthy and delicious. What are you waiting for? Get to Harry Buffalo, just outside Great Northern Mall today. Harry Buffalo. Join the herd.
Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix@AOL.com. That's thesportsfix@AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Signs and Ship, the official printing source of the Sports Fix. Locations in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Florida. Find out more at signsandship.com.
News break.
Good morning, I'm Bob Picozzi. It may only be the fifth day of training camp, but the Colts have already released kick returner Chris